the last defense. The transmission from Colony Orpheus cut off mid-sentence, just like the 17 before it. No distress signal, no final words, just silence. Captain Nadia Volkov stared at the blank communication panel, her weathered face, illuminated by the soft blue glow of emergency lighting. Another world gone. 50,000 colonists extinguished as easily as switching off a light. The Valkar had conquered planet after planet across the Orion Arm without losing a single battle. Their invasion fleet moved with terrible purpose, their black ships devouring civilizations with mechanical efficiency. No negotiation, no mercy. Status report, Volkov called out, her voice echoing across the command deck of Earth's last desperate gamble. The UES Defiance. Lieutenant Marcus Hale looked up from his console, dark circles shadowing his eyes. Orpheus is confirmed loss, Captain. That's another colony gone. The Valkar fleet is now on projected course for Earth. ETA 9 days. Volkov nodded, having expected this news. The Orpheus colony had been humanity's furthest outpost, a mining operation that had once been their pride, cutting-edge extraction technology, self-sustaining habitats, 3 generations of pioneers. Now it was just another graveyard. The Defiance was unlike any ship in the United Earth Fleet. Half a kilometer long, angular and menacing, it resembled a predator more than a vessel. Its gleaming obsidian hull absorbed rather than reflected light, making it appear like a moving shadow against the stars. "Are you ready to brief the crew, Dr. Ranyi?" Volkov asked, turning to the slim figure hunched over complex holographic projections at the science station. Dr. Imani Ranyi straightened, pushing her thick-rimmed glasses up her nose with one finger. Her dark skin looked ashen under the emergency lights. "Ready as I'll ever be, Captain, though convincing them that we stand a chance will be challenging." Volkov's lips curled into something between a grimace and a smile. "I didn't select them for their optimism, Doctor. I selected them because they're the best we have left." The Defiance wasn't supposed to exist. Project Nemesis had been buried under so many security classifications that most of Earth's military leadership didn't know about it. A prototype vessel built with reverse-engineered technology from a crashed alien scout ship found in the Arctic 30 years ago. A ship that had never been tested in combat, powered by systems that scientists only partially understood. And now, it was Earth's last hope. An hour later, Volkov stood before the assembled crew in the ship's cavernous hangar bay. 300, men and women, engineers, pilots, soldiers, scientists, all of them outcasts in their own way. Court-martialed officers, disgraced researchers, combat veterans deemed too unstable for regular service. The dregs of Earth's military, and now its final defenders, outcasts, misfits, no press, no medals, just one mission: stop the invincible. "You all know why you're here," Volkov began, her voice carrying across the silent crowd. "In 9 days, the Valkar fleet will reach Earth. When they do, humanity ends. Everything we've built, everything we are, gone." She paced slowly, meeting the eyes of her crew members one by one. "Every conventional weapon we've thrown at them has failed. Every strategy, every tactic, useless. We've lost 23 colonies in 6 months, billions dead. But today that changes. That." With a gesture, she activated the massive display behind her, showing the schematics of the Defiance. "This ship carries experimental weapon systems unlike anything humanity has built before. A temporal distortion cannon that can literally tear space apart, quantum shielding that adapts to enemy fire, and a propulsion system that can outrun anything the Valkar have shown us." Dr. Ranyi stepped forward, bringing up more detailed schematics. "The Defiance operates on principles we've adapted from xenotech recovered 30 years ago. The power core generates energy by creating microscopic singularities, harvesting Hawking radiation before they collapse. It's dangerous, unstable, and completely unlike anything the Valkar have encountered from us before." A tall man with burn scars covering half his face raised his hand. "So we're a suicide mission? A Hail Mary?" Volkov regarded him coolly. "Chief Engineer Keone Nakamura, isn't it? You once deliberately overloaded a colony reactor to stop raiders from stealing it, saving 2,000 lives while nearly losing your own. She gestured to the assembled crew. Everyone here has demonstrated the capacity to do the impossible when required. And yes, our chances are slim. But slim is better than none. Nakamura held her gaze for a long moment, then nodded once. We launch, in 6 hours, Volkov continued. Not to retreat, not to hide, to hunt. The Valkar have never faced resistance that could actually hurt them. We're going to change that. As the briefing concluded, Volkov returned to the bridge with Ranyi and Hale. The ship hummed with activity as final preparations were made. They're scared, Hale observed quietly. Good, Volkov replied. Fear keeps you sharp, keeps you alive. If the temporal cannon works as designed, Ranyi said, we might actually stand a chance. The simulations show it could disrupt the Valkar shields entirely. And if it doesn't? Hale asked. Volkov's expression hardened. Then we die knowing we tried everything humanly possible. 6 hours later, the Defiance detached from the secret lunar shipyard that had been its birthplace. Its engines flared to life, pushing it away from Earth and toward the outer solar system, where the Valkar advance fleet was already moving past the orbit of Neptune. The first engagement came sooner than expected. Near Saturn's rings, sensors detected a Valkar scout ship, a sleek obsidian vessel that seemed to absorb the light around it. Defensive positions, Volkov ordered calmly as alarms blared across the bridge. Weapons hot. Scout-class vessel, reported Lieutenant Hale. Similar to the ones that preceded the attack on Orpheus. Volkov nodded. Perfect. Let's see what this ship can really do. Tactical, prepare the pulse cannons. Low yield. I want to test their shields first. On the tactical station, Weapons Officer Julian Quinn's fingers danced across holographic controls. Pulse cannons charged and ready, Captain. Fire. The Defiance shuddered slightly as energy surged through its weapons arrays. 3 brilliant blue pulses erupted from the ship's forward section, streaking across the void toward the Valkar scout. The alien vessel attempted to evade, but one pulse struck its shields directly. Instead of dissipating against the barrier, as Earth weapons typically did, the pulse seemed to stick to the shield, spreading like liquid across its surface before intensifying and punching through. Direct hit! Quinn shouted, surprise evident in his voice. Their shields are fluctuating. Ranyi stared at her console in disbelief. The quantum harmonics worked. Our weapons are phasing through their defensive fields. For the first time in months, Volkov felt something akin to hope. Again, full power this time. The second volley tore through the weakened shields of the Valkar scout, ripping into its hull. The alien ship listed to one side, its propulsion systems flickering. They're transmitting some kind of signal, Communications Officer Prisha Mehta reported. A distress call, Volkov said. Good. Let them know what's coming. She turned to Quinn. Finish it. A final barrage from the Defiance's weapons reduced the Valkar scout to drifting debris, the fragments glittering against Saturn's golden backdrop. Silence didn't exist in space, but inside the Defiance, it felt like the entire crew held their breath. Lieutenant Hale reported, her voice sharp but laced with awe. They're wounded, sir, bleeding power. Volkov stood from her command chair, a fierce intensity in her eyes. Send the engagement data back to Earth Command, then set course for the main Valkar fleet. Hale looked up in shock. Captain, we're heading toward them? We just confirmed our weapons can hurt them, Lieutenant. For the first time since this invasion began, we have an advantage. I don't intend to waste it cowering in Earth's shadow. Chief Engineer Nakamura's voice came through the comms. Captain, the temporal cannon is still untested. We don't know if it will work or just tear us apart. Then I suggest you make sure it works, Chief, Volkov replied, because in 8 days that cannon is going to fire at the heart of the Valkar command ship. As the Defiance accelerated away from Saturn, leaving the debris of the scout ship behind, Volkov gazed at the holographic display showing the approaching Valkar fleet. Hundreds of ships, each one having participated in the destruction of countless Worlds, Dr. Ranyi stood beside her, voice sobering. We've got movement. Multiple ships inbound. Looks like strike cruisers. How long until they get here? 4 hours, Hale answered after checking his instruments. They're moving fast. Volkov nodded, her resolve hardening. Prepare for combat. All sections on full alert. We've shown them we can bleed them, now we show them we can fight. For the first time since the Veilcar had appeared at the edge of human space, destroying everything in their path, a human vessel was moving toward them, not away, not in retreat, not in desperation, but with purpose. The Defiance lived up to its name, a shadow cutting through the darkness, carrying with it humanity's last. Defiant stand against extinction. Behind them, Earth waited, unaware that its fate now rested with a renegade captain, an experimental ship, and a crew of last chances. Ahead of them, the stars beckoned, cold, unfeeling witnesses to countless civilizations that had already fallen to the Veilcar onslaught, but perhaps, just perhaps, humanity would not be among them. Turning the tide on Earth, the United Defense Council convened in the subterranean war room beneath New Geneva. Holographic displays showed the Defiance's engagement with the Veilcar scout, replaying the impossible moment when human weapons finally breached alien shields. Admiral Tamer Okafor, commander of Earth's remaining defense forces, replayed the footage for the 5th time. It actually worked, he muttered, still disbelieving. General Wei Zhang shook his head. One scout ship doesn't win a war, Admiral. And now Volkov is taking our only effective weapon directly into the enemy fleet instead of defending Earth. She's buying us time, countered Director Elisabeth Norgard of Military Intelligence, her weathered face illuminated by the blue glow of the displays. Each Veilcar ship she engages is one that's not attacking our remaining colonies or Earth itself. Okafor's eyes remained fixed on the display. What I want to know is why the Defiance's weapons work when nothing else has. What makes this ship different? In the shadows at the back of the room, a figure stepped forward. Professor Maximilian Bohr, the reclusive genius who had led Project Nemesis from the beginning. His voice was soft but carried an unmistakable authority. Because the Defiance doesn't fight like a human ship, he said. It fights like them. 200 million kilometers away, Captain Nadia Volkov stared at the tactical display, showing 4 Veilcar strike cruisers moving to intercept the Defiance. Unlike the scout they had destroyed, these were purpose-built war vessels, each one responsible for the destruction of entire planetary defense fleets. Status on temporal cannon? She asked, voice steady despite the tension gripping the bridge. Chief. Engineer Nakamura's voice came through comms, strained but determined. Final calibrations complete, Captain. But I have to warn you, we've never fired this weapon at full capacity. The simulation models show a 46% chance of feedback that could damage our own systems. Noted, Volkov replied. Have damage control. Team standing by. Lieutenant Hale, tactical analysis. Hale's fingers danced across his console. The lead cruiser is 40% larger than the others, likely the command vessel. They're forming a standard pincer approach. They'll be in weapons range in 12 minutes. Dr. Ranyi looked up from her station. Captain, I've been analyzing the debris from the scout ship. The quantum resonance of their shields operates on a frequency that's remarkably similar to our own technology, but phase shifted. Almost as if they're using our own tech against us. Volkov finished, eyes narrowing. Or something very similar. Communications Officer Mehta interrupted. Captain, I'm detecting unusual communications between the cruisers, not standard tactical data. They're curious about us. A cold smile played across Volkov's face. Then let's give them something to talk about. Quinn, target the lead cruiser's propulsion systems. Nakamura, I want 30% power to the temporal cannon, a warning shot. The Defiance surged forward, its stealth systems disengaged. There was no point hiding now. They needed to be seen, to become the focus of the Veilcar's attention. The first exchange was devastating. The Veilcar cruisers fired simultaneously, energy weapons lashing out across space. The Defiance's quantum shields flared brilliantly as they absorbed the impacts, the ship shuddering under the assault. Shields holding at 82%, reported Quinn. Better than expected. Return fire, all forward batteries. The Defiance unleashed its arsenal. Conventional weapons struck first, railguns firing hypervelocity projectiles, followed by energy lances that targeted the weak points identified from the scout ship encounter. The lead cruiser's shields flickered but held. Then came the temporal cannon. Unlike conventional weapons, it didn't fire a projectile or energy beam. Instead, a distortion appeared in space between the ships, a rippling, shimmering anomaly that expanded outward from the Defiance's bow. When it touched the lead cruiser's shields, reality itself seemed to warp. The shields didn't break. They simply ceased to exist where the distortion passed. Direct hit, Quinn reported, voice hushed with awe. Their forward shield quadrant is gone. The bridge crew watched in stunned silence as the temporal distortion continued through the exposed hull, shearing away a section of the alien vessel as cleanly as a surgeon's scalpel. Secondary explosions bloomed silently across the damaged cruiser. They're breaking formation, Hale reported. 2 cruisers moving to protect the lead vessel, 1 on intercept course. Volkov nodded. They didn't expect us to have teeth. Evasive, pattern delta. Prepare a second temporal shot, full power this time. As the Defiance executed a tight turn that would have torn apart a conventional vessel, the incoming Valkar cruiser unleashed a barrage of weapons fire. Most glanced off the quantum shields, but one hit struck directly amidships. The impact threw crew members from their stations. Emergency lighting flickered and acrid smoke filled the air. Damage report, Volkov called out, pulling herself back into her command chair. Hull breach on deck 4. Nakamura responded through static. Ceiling. Now power fluctuations throughout the grid. The temporal cannon's focusing array is damaged. We can still fire, but accuracy will be compromised. Another hit rocked the ship. The tactical display showed the Valkar cruisers regrouping, adapting their tactics. They learn fast, Ranyi observed, wiping blood from a cut above her eye. Volkov's expression hardened. So do we. Nakamura, what's the status on that theory we discussed? Using the quantum shields offensively. Untested, dangerous, and probably insane, the engineer replied, but the calculations check out. Implement it. Quinn, prepare to redirect shield energy on my mark. Hale, take us straight at the lead cruiser. Maximum speed. The bridge fell, silent as the implications of her order sank in. A frontal assault against a superior enemy force was suicide by any conventional standard. Captain, Quinn began, at that range, if the shield modification fails, then we won't be around to worry about it, Volkov replied. Execute. The Defiance surged forward, accelerating toward the Valkar formation with reckless speed. The enemy ships responded immediately, concentrating their fire on the human vessel. The quantum shields blazed under the assault, bleeding energy, but holding. Distance to target, 30,000 kilometers. Hale called out. 25,000. Ready. Temporal cannon, Volkov ordered. Target their command node. 15,000 kilometers. Now, Quinn, invert the shields. What happened next defied conventional physics. The Defiance's quantum shields, designed to absorb and deflect energy, suddenly reversed polarity. Instead of repelling the Valkar weapons fire, they began to draw it in, absorbing the energy and channeling it into the ship's systems. For a brief, terrifying moment, the Defiance was completely exposed. No shields, vulnerable to any hit. But the Valkar, seeing their weapons being consumed rather than deflected, hesitated. That hesitation cost them everything. Fire temporal cannon, Volkov commanded. The cannon fired, its power magnified by the absorbed Valkar energy. The resulting distortion wasn't a careful surgical strike, but a massive expanding rift in space-time that engulfed the lead cruiser entirely. For an instant, the alien ship existed in multiple states simultaneously, intact, shattered, non-existent, before reality reasserted itself. Where the Valkar command vessel had been, only debris remained, slowly expanding in a silent cloud. The remaining cruisers broke off their attack, engines flaring as they retreated at maximum speed. Silence fell over the Defiance's bridge, broken only by the hiss of fire suppression systems and the ping of damage reports coming in from all sections. Did we just... Quinn began, unable to finish the sentence. Yes, Volkov answered, her voice quiet but firm. We just destroyed their command ship. And they ran. Dr. Ranye was bent over her console analyzing the data streaming in. Captain, during that last engagement, I managed to intercept fragmentary data from their command ship. Her voice changed, growing urgent. This isn't just about conquest. The Valkar are running from something. Explain, Volkov demanded. These star charts, Ranye said, bringing up a holographic display. They show migration patterns across thousands of light years. The Valkar aren't an empire, they're refugees. And they're terraforming planets to create specific conditions that would be hostile to... She paused, rechecking her findings. To something they call the Devourer, a stellar-scale entity that's pursuing them across the galaxy. The implications settled over the bridge crew. The Valkar weren't conquerors by choice, but by desperate necessity, fleeing an even greater threat. Send all this to Earth Command, Volkov ordered, and prepare a communication protocol. When those cruisers report back to their fleet, I want to be ready to talk. Lieutenant Hale looked up from his station. You think they'll negotiate now? After we destroyed their command ship? Now they know we can hurt them, Volkov replied. That changes everything. If they're running from something worse, they can't afford an extended conflict with us. 3 days later, the Defiance hung in space at the edge of the Kuiper Belt. Before it, a massive Valkar vessel had emerged from faster-than-light travel. Not a warship, but a diplomatic carrier, its design distinct from the military vessels they had encountered. On the bridge, Captain Volkov adjusted her formal uniform. Behind her stood Dr. Ranye and Admiral Okafor, who had arrived via high-speed shuttle to oversee the unprecedented first peaceful contact with the Valkar. Transmission coming in, reported Officer Mehta. They're using our communication protocols. Put it through, Volkov ordered. The holographic display flickered, then stabilized, showing a Valkar representative, humanoid but clearly alien, with iridescent skin that shifted colors like oil on water, and eyes that contained too many pupils. I am Nexar, voice of the Valkar Exodus, the alien spoke, its words translated by the ship's AI. You have demonstrated unexpected capabilities. I am Captain Nadia Volkov of the United Earthship Defiance, Volkov replied evenly. We've analyzed your data. We know what you're running from. The alien's skin darkened. Then you understand our necessity. What I understand, Volkov countered, is that destroying civilizations to save yourselves is no longer your only option. She gestured, and Dr. Ranye brought up new holographic displays, modified shield equations, weapon designs, and stellar maps. Your technology and ours share common principles. Together, we might find a way to resist the Devourer without sacrificing more worlds. The Valkar was silent for a long moment, its multiple pupils dilating and contracting as it studied the displayed information. The Devourer has consumed 12,000 civilizations across 16 galaxies, it finally said. None have successfully resisted. None had the defiance, Volkov replied. Or what we've learned from building it. Another pause, longer this time. We will consider an alliance. After the transmission ended, Admiral Okafor turned to Volkov. You realize what you've done? You've committed Earth to a war against something that terrifies even the Valkar. I've given humanity a chance, Volkov corrected. Something we didn't have 3 days ago. Outside the viewport, the stars continued their silent vigil, indifferent to the struggles of the civilizations that lived and died beneath their light. But for the first time since the Valkar had appeared at the edge of human space, those stars no longer seemed to promise only inevitable extinction. Now they offered possibility. In the heart of the Defiance, Chief Engineer Nakamura worked with his team to repair the damaged temporal cannon. They had taken apart a Valkar shield generator recovered from the debris field, integrating its technology with their own. It's strange, he remarked to his assistant. Their tech feels almost Familiar. Like we're looking at our own work after someone else modified it. In her lab, Dr. Ranyi had come to a similar conclusion. The quantum signatures from Velkar technology matched certain patterns found in ancient artifacts unearthed on Earth decades ago. Artifacts that had inspired the technologies behind the defiance. A pattern was emerging, a cycle of civilizations rising, falling, and passing knowledge forward. The Velkar were part of it. Humanity was part of it. And perhaps together, they might break it. On the bridge, Captain Volkov stood alone, watching the stars. Millions of civilizations had fallen before the Devourer's advance across the cosmos. But one human ship had changed everything, not through superior firepower or advanced technology, but by doing what humanity had always done best, refusing to accept extinction as inevitable and finding hope in the darkest hour. The Defiance would soon return to Earth, carrying not just victory, but possibility. A new chapter in human history was beginning, one that would take them beyond their solar system and into a galaxy alive with both terrible dangers and potential allies. "Captain," came Hale's voice from behind her. "Earth Command is requesting your presence for a full debriefing and strategic planning session." Volkov nodded, her eyes still on the stars. "Tell them we're coming home, but not to stay." The Defiance's engines flared to life, pushing it toward Earth, toward the future, uncertain, dangerous, but undeniably alive with possibility.